So welcome to this new video, and this is the second time I am recording this because I forgot to push the record button on the microscope. So we are back here with the Samsung DVD drive motherboard, and this is basically part 3 of the series where I took apart a Samsung disk drive which had problems with reading the disk and had some problems with the tray opening and closing, and it was not the belt, but yeah, it just, if I push the eject button, it will not open. If there's no disk in the disk drive, it will give me a disk read error. If there is a disk in the disk drive, it will not do anything. So really strange problem. I tried to troubleshoot it in the previous part, and it did not go very well. The chip went on in smokes. If you want to see that, check out the previous video. But yeah, basically why I am recording right now is because I got my hands on a known good Samsung drive. So this is exactly the same motherboard as the one we have been working on, and I will show you that in the other cam of the microscope. So here you can see it. You can see it still has the original caps. I will try and show it a bit more properly. It's mirrored, so it's a little bit tricky to show it. But yeah, this is a known good working motherboard. I just tested it. I will show you that on screen right now. It works absolutely wonderful, except that the belt is not in good shape, so I just need to replace that and it should be good to go. So that's very nice, and that's why I wanted to take the opportunity to compare the two motherboards before I get rid of the good working Samsung drive. So I did some visual inspection around the two motherboards and compare them, see if there's any differences which I could find. I will also show you the board we have been working on. It's not very focused, apologies for that, but you can see the caps we replaced. We did a recap on this drive. And on the back, here's the melted chip. And the one that, this melted in the previous part. If you want to see that, check out the previous video. I will leave a link in the description. But yeah, anyway, I did some comparisons between the two, and I found some interesting things and some very embarrassing things. Let's start with the interesting things. So I will start with the good working motherboard, and I will put it on the microscope. And here you can see some pieces of exposed copper around here, and you can see that is in very good shape. There's definitely nothing wrong with it. And if I show you the other motherboard we have been working on, it's covered in solder mask already. You can see that it does not look as nice as the other motherboard, and that's because there was bits of corrosion all around here, which I had to scrape away and put some solder mask around it. And why I mention that is because I found some signs of corrosion all around the motherboard. I think I did most of the work off cam. In the previous part I did reflow this chip because it was not really looking well. It showed some signs of corrosion and a little bit rusty. So I reflowed all of the legs, and now it looks at least nice again. But I had to do the same for this chip right here. So I have a fiberglass pen which I use with some IPA to scrape the corrosion away. But now at least the outside is looking well. Of course I have no idea how the inside is looking, if there's any corrosion in there. But you can see how it looked like on this BIOS chip. If I focus it a little bit, you can see on the top of the pins you have some corrosion. I think I cleaned it up on all the other sides, but maybe I've forgotten about this. But yeah, this is how it looked on all of the legs. So definitely this has been stored in an area where it is very humid. The thing is with these disk drives, or with the motherboards at least, is that on this specific revision, it is a very exposed motherboard. So if the disk drive is fully assembled, the motherboard is basically exposed on the side with the IDE port, and you can just look into it. So I think it's very easy for corrosion to access it. And especially when you have exposed copper, like right here, then it will just sit on there. So yeah, that maybe has also contributed to some of the problems we were already seeing before I did anything with the board. And then the second thing, which is also very interesting, and that's also something which I was wondering about in the previous episodes, and I finally have an answer to that, is the 47 microfarad cap, which I will show you right here. This is the one we replaced, and I also did a bit of trace repair. So I got some readings on there, which I thought were abnormal, but yeah, it turns out that these readings are normal. So I am in continuity mode. You can see there. So I put my red probe on the ground of a different capacitor, and if I go with the black probe onto the negative, you can see we have a reading of 600 something ohms, 668 in this case. Then if I go to the positive side of the cap, we have a reading of 412, 1310 ohms. So basically in the 400 ohms. So if you remember that, and now we go to the no good disk drive. I put my red probe again on the negative of a different cap. I need to put the cap in focus. Yep, and now I put the black probe on the negative of the 47 microfarad cap. We get a reading of 664 ohms. Then the other side, we get a reading of 408, 407 ohms. So again in the low 400s. So you can see that it's completely normal. I was wondering about that, but yeah, it's apparently normal. I'm not sure what the wall is of this specific cap, but it does. I think it has a different wall than the other caps. If, for example, I go to these three right here, and I go onto the negative with one probe, and then the other one, and on another negative you can see it beeps. And here you can hear it beeps as well. If I go to the other cap, the 220 volt cap on the other side, it beeps. But this one, the 47 microfarad cap, has a bit of a different wall. So yeah, apparently that's completely normal. So that's very interesting to learn, and that's definitely good information to have. So now I need to move on to the most embarrassing part of this video, but it's also the most important one because I need to learn from this. And yeah, so you know what, I will just start. You know that we worked on let me show you, on the board we worked on this chip. I noticed it was a little bit screwed for some reason. I don't know, it seemed that the chip was how do I explain this? It was not fully centered. I think that's the best way to put it. So here there was a little bit more distance than right here, so I took off the chip with some hot air and I moved it a bit more in the middle so that it was a bit more equally distributed. And yeah, if you saw the video, then you know that that did not solve the problem. But yeah, I want you to pay attention to this chip. Now I will grab the known good motherboard. I will put it in the exact same orientation, and I will put it on right now. Can you see the difference? Yeah, I put on the chip the wrong way around. That is very embarrassing. I am not even sure how it happened. I have no idea what I was thinking. I was absolutely flabbergasted when I found out. I mean, I had to laugh for a bit because, yeah, I don't know. This has never happened to me before. This is definitely a first where I screwed up the orientation of the chip so much. I think maybe where it went wrong. I mean, if you look at the chip, you can see it has a dot here. It says Japan, and then there's a dot here where it has two letters inside. So I think maybe I made a mental note of one of the dots, but yeah, maybe I did not realize there were two dots around here. Of course, this is the dot which I should have focused on, since that actually gives the orientation. So let me go to the known good motherboard. And here we have the chip right here. I will flip it actually, so it's in the same orientation. So I will try and find the dot on here, and yeah, here you can see the black dot, and here you can see the big dot which indicates which orientation it has. I completely missed it. I never realized that this was all wrong. I never checked the footage back to see if I put it on the correct way. So yeah, it's an embarrassing fault. And yeah, an absolute failure. I mean, I will probably take the chip on and put it on correctly. But yeah, I'm not sure if I will ever put this back into power ever again. I mean, when I took apart the disk drive, where this motherboard was originally from, I could still smell the plastic that burned, and I could still smell the solder that burned at a very high temperature. So I think this chip is busted, to be honest. I'm not sure if I can find a replacement for it. I'm not sure if there's any specific software that is associated in this chip, which I cannot reflash by myself. But yeah, I am not very keen on reusing this, and yeah, I am also not sure if it would have solved the problem. Maybe it would have. I think I'm not completely sure, but I think that this chip is responsible for the status of the disk drive, if it opens and closes, and if the tray is open or closed. So it definitely may play a role. If I look at the notebook motherboard and you look at the how the chip is in the middle, then I think this is much better in the middle than the other one was originally. So I definitely think that something was going on with that. Even though the motherboard of the whole Xbox was never taken apart, there were no signs of it at least. Unfortunately, these disk drives do not have warranty stickers, so I'm not 100% sure. But I'm pretty sure that the plastics were not tampered with on the outside of the Xbox. So I doubt that is the problem. But yeah, if you look at the distribution of these two chips, I will show them to you back to back. I think this is basically very similar, and it's more the same. So maybe there were problems with it, maybe not. I don't really want to find out at this point. I think I will just keep this for parts, which is still very valuable. Of course, I could just take off the caps we put on there. And I think most of the resistor arrays are actually in good condition, so that's a very valuable part. Because on most Samsung disk drives, these do fail quite often. So yeah, I'm more than happy with the parts for this. And yeah, I think that is all I want to say about the motherboard. So I will wrap up the video here. Yeah, I want to thank you for watching. And yeah, you can embarrass me in the comments about about the mistake I made. It's definitely completely deserved, but yeah. Also, one last thing I want to mention is that I did do some measurements around both motherboards to see if maybe I could find something off. But yeah, on the most general things I measured, I did not find anything off. I measured around these transistors, around some of the caps, around the main chip. I did not find anything special. And yeah, I just want to wrap up this series where we looked at this specific Samsung disk drive. Yeah, thank you for watching. I'm not going to ask you to do anything with this video, but I think you deserved a bit of an update after the last video, because this is some new information also for me, and definitely something I will keep in mind in the future, that I will not make the same mistake again, because it's such a easy preventable mistake, such a basically a mistake which is very easily preventable. You should not make the same mistakes as me. And yeah, pay attention to the motherboard to see what orientation the chip is in. But yeah, thank you for watching, and yeah, maybe I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day.